Judah's king Ahaziah is killed. But when Ahaziah, king of Judah, saw this, he fled on the road to Beth-Hagen. So Jehu pursued after him, saying, him too. And on the ascent of Gur, one struck him in the chariot near Ibleam. He then fled to Megiddo and died there. From here, his servants carried him in the chariot to Jerusalem and buried him in his tomb in the city of David. And in the 11th year of Joram, king of Israel, Ahaziah became king over Judah. The bloody death of Jezebel. Now Jehu returned to Jezreel, and Jezebel received the news of it. She put black makeup on her eyes and adorned her head, and she stooped down and peeked through the window. As Jehu turned into the city, she said, peace, Zimri, the murderer of his master. Jehu raised his eyes upward toward the window and saw her, and said, who are you? Come down by me. Then two eunuchs looked down at him. He exclaimed, throw her down. So they threw her down, and her blood splattered against the wall, even on the horses which trampled her. Even on the horses which trampled her. Then Jehu went in, and he ate and drank, and said, indeed, have care for this cursed woman. Give her proper burial, as she is the daughter of a king. So they went to bury her, but no more of her was found, but the skull, the feet, and the palms of her hands. They came back and told Jehu, and he said, This is the word the Lord spoke by his servant Elijah the Tishbite, saying, on the plot of ground at Jezreel, dogs shall eat the flesh of Jezebel, and Jezebel's corpse shall be like dung on the face of the field, the plot at Jezreel, so that they shall not say, here lies Jezebel. The sons of Ahab are killed. Ahab had 70 sons in Samaria, and Jehu wrote a letter and sent it to Samaria, to the rulers of Samaria, to the elders, and to those who reared the sons of Ahab, saying, at the moment this letter is delivered to you, since your master's sons are with you, and because you have chariots and horses, a fortified city, and weapons, choose the best qualified of your master's sons, then set him on his father's throne, and prepare to fight for your master's house. But they were very afraid and said, look, 2 kings could not stand up to him. How can we stand? Those over the house and the city, plus the elders, and including even those who reared the sons, sent a word to Jehu, saying, where are your servants? And we will do everything you tell us, but we will not make anyone king. Do what is good in your eyes. Then Jehu wrote them a second letter, saying, if you are for me and obey my voice, take the heads of the sons of your lord, and by this time tomorrow bring them to me at Jezreel. Now the sons of the king totaled 70 men. These well-educated headmasters from within the city reared them. But when the letter came to them, they took the 70 sons of the king and slaughtered them. They then put their heads in the baskets and sent them to Jehu at Jezreel. Then a messenger came and spoke to Jehu, saying, they have wrought the heads of the kings, and they have wrought the heads of the king's sons. And he said, lay them in 2 heaps at the entrance of the gate until morning. So in the morning he went out and stood at the gate and said to all the people, you are righteous ones. Indeed, I conspired against my master and killed him. But who struck down all these? See then that not one thing from the word of the Lord against the house of Ahab they put their heads in their baskets and sent them to Jehu at Jezreel. Then a messenger came to spoke to Jehu, saying, they have brought the heads of the king's sons. And he said, lay them in 2 heaps at the entrance of the gate until morning. So in the morning he went out and stood at the gate and said to all the people, you are righteous ones indeed. I conspired against my master and killed him. But who struck down all these? See, then, that not one thing from the word of the Lord against the house of Ahab fall on the ground for any reason. For the Lord has fulfilled all he spoke of by the authority of his servant Elijah. So Jehu killed all who remained of the house of Ahab in Jezreel, all his well-educated headmasters, his friends, and his priests, so no remnant of him survived. Ahaziah's brothers are killed. When Jehu arose and departed to Samaria, when he was at Beth-Eked of the shepherds, Jehu found the brothers of Ahaziah, king of Judah, and said, who are you? So they answered, we are the brothers of Ahaziah. We came down to greet the sons of the king and the sons of the queen mother. And he said, take them alive. So they took them alive and killed these 42 men at Beth-Eked. He left not one of them alive. Other relatives of Ahab killed. After he departed from there, he found Jehonadab, the son of Rechab, coming to greet him, and he bestowed a blessing on him. Jehu said to him, is your heart right with my heart, as my heart is right with your heart? And Jehonadab answered, it is. Jehu said, if it is, give me your hand. So he gave him his hand, and he brought him into the chariot. Then he said, come with me, and see my zeal for the Lord of hosts. So Jehonadab rode in his chariot, and when Jehu came to Samaria, he killed all who remained to Ahab in Samaria, till he had completely destroyed them, according to the word the Lord spoke through Elijah. Worshippers of Baal are killed. Then Jehu gathered all the people together and said to them, Ahab served Baal a little, and Jehu will serve him much. Now all the prophets of Baal, all the servants of his and the priests of his, must call upon me. Let not a man be missing, for I have a great sacrifice to offer Baal. Whoever is missing will not live. But Jehu acted in deception in order to destroy the servants of Baal. And Jehu said, proclaim a solemn assembly for Baal. And they proclaimed it. Then Jehu sent to all Israel, saying, now all the servants of Baal and all his priests and all his prophets, let no one be left out, for I am making a great sacrifice, and if anyone is not in attendance, he shall not live. Then all the servants of Baal and all his priests and all his prophets came. There was not a man who did not come. No one was left behind. And they entered the house of Baal, and the house of Baal was filled from one end to the other. So he said to the one in charge of the house and the wardrobe, bring out vestments for all the servants of Baal. And the one in charge of the vestments brought them. Then Jehu and Jehonadab, the son of Rechab, entered the house of Baal and said to the servants of Baal, search and see whether there are any servants of the Lord here, or only servants of Baal. So they went in to offer sacrifices, burnt offerings. Now Jehu appointed for himself 80 guards to be on the outside, and said to them, if any of the men I brought into your hands escapes, whoever lets them escape, it shall be his life, and for the life of one he spares. Now it happened that when Jehu finished offering the whole burnt offering, he said to the guards and to the officers, go in and kill every person. Let no one come out. And they killed them with the edge of the sword. Being completely overrun, the guards, even the officers, cast the bodies out. Then they proceeded to the city of the house of Baal. And they brought out the foundational pillar of Baal and burned it. Then they pulled down the other pillars of Baal and demolished the house. It was made into a latrine, and remains so to this day. Thus Jehu destroyed Baal from Israel. However, Jehu did not turn away from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who caused Israel to sin by the way of the golden calves that were at Bethel and Dan. So the Lord said to Jehu, because of the many upright deeds which you did carry out, the good in my sight, and according to all things that were in my heart, which you did to the house of Ahab, your sons to the fourth generation shall sit for you on the throne of Israel. Even still, Jehu took no heed to walk in the law of the Lord God of Israel with his whole heart. He did not depart from the sins of Jeroboam, who caused Israel to sin.